Okay, good day. It's lesson 58 today. It's on repeating decimals. So a couple things you need to know before we start. There's two kinds of decimals, okay? So like 1.2, this is called a terminating decimal because it ends, it terminates. But then you'll have a decimal like 0.3333, and this is called a repeating decimal, and it never ends. It goes on forever. However, I have better things to do in my life than write decimal 333 for the rest of my life. So we had to figure out a way to show that this decimal keeps going forever. Okay? Let me show you how that works. So a third, right? One third as a fraction. To make that into a decimal, we have to divide. 1 inside, 3 outside, decimal, and add a few zeros. Okay? 3 doesn't go into 1. 3 does go into 10. Goes in. The most I can use up is 9, which is 3 of them, which leaves me with 1 left over. Drop it. 3 goes into 10 3 times, which is 9, 1 left over. Drop it. 3 goes into 10 3 times, which is 9, 1 left over. It would go on forever and ever, right? So that's this is a repeating decimal, this is a terminating decimal. The way that, there's a couple of different ways to show a repeating decimal, but the way that Jump Math teaches it is that you use a line and you put it over the part of the decimal that repeats. So in this case, 3 repeats. So when I would write decimal 333 as a decimal, I would write decimal 3 with a line over the 3, and that tells me that this 3 goes on forever. Okay? Now, things can repeat in different ways. Like you could have 5 decimal 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So the part that repeats, you put the bar over both of them. So if I was writing 5 decimal 1 2 1 2 1 2, I would write 1 2 with a bar over it, over both the numbers, because they both repeat. Sometimes you'll get 6 decimal 3 7 8 1 7 8 1 7 8 1, where the 3 does not repeat, but 7 8 1 does. So if I was going to write this, I'd say 6 decimal 3 7 8 1 with a bar over 7 8 1, not over 3, because 3 does not repeat, only 7 8 1 does. Okay? So whatever repeats, you put the bar over that little section of the number, just over the part that repeats. Okay? So in number 1, you're going to write each decimal to 8 decimal places. So if you have 0.3 with the bar over it, and there's a whole bunch of blanks behind that, the only part that's repeating is 3, so you're just going to fill in 3 all the way across. Now, one of the later ones is 8.259 and, 2539, and 539 repeats. So in the blanks, you're going to write 539, 5, and keep going. But remember, you have to pick it up where they stopped. I don't think there's anything tricky there, but okay? Go pause the video, do number 1. Okay, second one. Again, super easy. You're going to like today's math. It's easy. Circle the repeating digits. So the first one is 0.1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2. Okay, so I've got 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 1 2. So I think we can assume the part that's going to repeat is the 3. 1 2 3 1 2 3, which means I need to circle 1 2 3 right there. Not 1 2 3 4, because the 4 does not repeat. You have to find the place where the pattern starts so that you know which piece will keep repeating. And even though this wasn't filled in, 1 2 3 1 2, it wouldn't make sense that it was 1 2 3 4. So it would be 1 2 3. Okay? One of the later ones, I didn't even see this one on the math, so I'll do it now. 0.1 2 3 2 3. Oh, I know why. Silly me. 1 2 3 2 3 8. What repeats? That's why I didn't circle anything. Because this 8 means that nothing is repeating. Right? I suppose there's a possibility if we knew what came next, it could be 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 8, and the whole thing would repeat, but they've given us no evidence of that. So the thing that repeats in that one is nothing. Okay? Pause the video, go do number 2. Okay, write number 3. Write each repeating decimal using bar notation. That means putting the bar over the numbers that repeat. So you've got 0.5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and it goes on and on. So using bar notation, this would be 0.5 with a bar over the 5. Okay, I'll do one more with you. 8.162626. Okay, well, this is the part that repeats the 26. So to write it in bar notation, we'd have 8.1626 with the bar over 26. Okay, pause the video, go finish number 3. 4. Find the decimal value of each fraction to 3 decimal places, then write it as a repeating decimal. So this is just what we were doing yesterday. So the first one is 3 into 1, and it's got some zeros. Okay? 3 goes into 1 no times. 3 goes into 10. The most I can get to is 9, which is 3 times, and that leaves 1 left over. Drop the 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 9, 1 left over. 3 goes into 10 3 times, 9, 1 left over. 3 goes into 10 3 times, 9, 1 left over. Okay? So, decimal 333, so in bar notation it would be 0.3 with a line over the 3. Okay? Pause the video, go finish the second half of number 4. Number 5, use long division to calculate the decimal equivalent of the fraction to 6 decimal places, then write the decimal using bar notation. Okay, so we got 1/6. So that means in our house, 1 goes in, 6 goes out, decimal and a bunch of zeros. 6 goes into 1 no times, but 6 goes into 10 one time, which is 6. 4 left over. Drop it. 6 goes into 40 6 times, which is 36. 4 left over. Drop it. 6 goes into 46 times, 36, 4 left over. Drop it. 6 goes into 46 times, 36, 4 left over. I think you can see where this is going, right? 0.166666666 forever. So to write that in bar notation, we'd have 0.16 with a bar just over the 6, not over the 1. It doesn't repeat. Bye, Kennedy. Okay, let's do the last one, and I'll leave some for you guys to do by yourselves. 5/12 means 5 goes in, 12 goes out, a decimal, and a bunch of zeros. Okay, 5 goes into 12 no times. There's my decimal. 5 goes into 50 4 times, which is 48. Leaves us with 2, drop the 0. 12 goes into 20 one time, which is 12 with 8 left over. Drop the 0. 12 goes into 80 6 times, which is 72. Drop and 8 left over, drop the 0. 12 goes into 86 times, which is 72, 80, 6, 6, 6. So it's going to keep going forever, right? So to put that in bar notation, it would be 0.416 with the bar just over the 6, because the 4 and the 1 don't repeat. Okay? Oops. Okay, pause the video, go finish number 5, which takes us to the second page. We're halfway there. Okay, match the fractions with their decimal equivalents, use a calculator. So A is 1/3. So in your calculator, you're going to put in 1 divided by 3 equals, it's going to be 0.3 repeating. So you need to find where it says 0.3, write A beside it. You are using a calculator for this. So good for you. Be super easy. Pause the video, go do that. 7, round the repeating decimals to the nearest tenth, hundred, and thousandth. Okay, let's go back and have a quick lesson. So say I have 1 decimal, 2, 3, 5, 9, 7. Okay? To round to the nearest tenth, I have to find the 10th column, which is the first one after the decimal. I look next door. What does next door say? I'm below 5, so that means 2 stays the same. So to round to the 10th, I should only have something in the 10th, nothing behind it, and in this case it says to stay the same. To round to the 100th, I have to find the hundredths column, and I look next door to see what to do. So I've got 1 decimal 2, and the 5 says round up, so that 3 is going to change to a 4. To round to the 1000th, I find the 1000th column, and I look next door. 9 says round up, so that means this is going to become a 6. 1 decimal 2, 3, 6. The difference between rounding to the 10th, 100th, and 1000th is this is much more accurate. You're throwing away less, smaller and smaller parts. When you round to the 10th, you throw away bigger parts, which means it's less accurate. So, okay, let's try it once again. 43.717. Okay, so to round to the 10th, I have 43, I keep that. I found my 10th, I look next door, 1 says stay the same. To go to the 100th, so this is the 10th, this is the 100th. I've got 43, find my 100th, look next door. 7 says round up, so it's going to be 43.72. To get the 1000th, I look for my 1000th. Now, there is nothing behind this to tell me what to do, but there actually is something behind it. You just have to remember, there are zeros to infinity behind it. So I look next door, what does it say? It says stay the same, it's not above 5, it's not 5 or up. So we end up with 43.717. Okay? So you are going to round to the nearest tenth, hundredth, and thousand in that chart. And I don't believe there's any 285,714, 285,714. It's a repeating decimal, but it doesn't affect you at all because it's past the thousandth. 3846153. 384615. 384615. Yeah, they're both repeating decimals, but none of that affects your rounding. Okay, pause the video, come back for number 8, 9, 10, and we're done. Okay, number 8, compare the decimals. You guys have done this before. So you've got 2 decimals in the first one, 349 and a box, and decimal 349 repeating. What they want you to do, you've got boxes underneath. So something, I don't know, like this, I guess. How many boxes? 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty good, right? Okay, so they want you to fill in. Here's your decimal here. 349 and 349 repeating. So decimal 3499999. And remember, there's nothing in those boxes, but there actually is something in those boxes. It's nothing. Zeros. So they want you to compare the numbers. 3s are the same. 4s are the same. 9s are the same. These are different. Circle the first place it's different. Now, which one is bigger? 349 repeating, so the fat end goes to the fat number. Okay? So do that. You're going to do the same thing for part B and part C. Pause the video, come back for number 9. Okay, write each group of numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay, I was able to do this in my head, but even in my head, I did have to think hard about it. So let's do one together. So you've got decimal 4, 0.42, with the 2 repeating, 0.42 with both repeating, and 0.42 on its own. Okay, so this is actually 0.40000, right? This is 0.4222, okay? This is 0.4242, and this is just 0.42. Okay, so all the 4s are the same. The 0 is going to make this the smallest, so this will be 4. So we don't even have to look at that anymore. Now, we've got all 2s, so we can't tell what's different. Now we've got a 2, a 4, and technically 0's here, right? So a 2 and a 4. So that means this is the biggest. Now, I've got a 2 and a 0, which means this comes next. Oh, sorry. This comes next, and this is third, okay? So write yourself out a little list if you can't do it in your head, which, as I said, it's been a while since I've done grade 7 math, and I did a bit more than grade 7, and even keeping those numbers, because with all the repeating stuff, it gets jumbly in my head. But let's do one more. Okay, 0.546. 0.546 with the 6 repeating. 0.546 with the 46 repeating, and 0.546 with all of it repeating. Okay, so this would just be 0.546. Nothing happening there, no repeatings. This, so technically there would be zeros after this, right? Then 0.546 with the 6 repeating, so then it would be 6, 6, 6, 6. Now, 0.5 with the 4, 6 repeating. 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6. And this one would be 0.54656, because the whole thing repeats. Okay. 5s are all the same, 4s are all the same, 6s are all the same. Then I have a 0, a 6, a 4, and a 5. Well, this is going to be pretty easy. So the 0 is number 4, because that's going to come in last. So I don't even have to look at him anymore. So now I've got 5, 4, 6, 6, 5, 4, 6, 4, 5, 4, 6, 5. Well, 5, 4, 6, 6 is the biggest. And then I've got 5, 4, 6, 5, 5, 4, 6, 4. So 6, 5 is next. 6, 4 is third. Okay? You've got 6 to do in that one. Come on back for the last question. Pause the video. Okay, so this is the longest question probably of the day. Use long division to write the fractions as repeating decimals. Copy your answers below. So what I did was I did the long division below the question, and then I put the answer, the repeating decimal, beside, like 1/9 equals. Okay? So we got 1/9, which means we build a house, 1 goes in, 9 goes out, decimal, and a bunch of zeros. Right? 9 goes into 1 no times. There's my decimal. 9 goes into 10 one time, which is 9. 1 left over, drop the 0, 9 goes into 10 one time. 9, 1 left over, drop the 0. 9 goes into 10 one time. 9, 1, drop the 0. You can see where this is going. So it's decimal 1 repeating. So 1/9 is 0.1 repeating. Okay? So that's A. Choose one further down to do with you. How about 4/9? So 4/9 is build my house, 4 goes in, 9 goes out, decimal and a few zeros, right? So 9 goes into 4 0 times, there's my decimal. 9 goes into 40 4 times, which is 36, 4 left over, drop the 0. 9 goes into 40 4 times, which is 36, 4 left over, drop the 0. 9 goes into 40 4 times, 36, 4, drop the 0. So you can see the 4 repeats. So 4/9 is 0.4 with the bar because the 4 repeats. Okay? So you're gonna notice a pattern as you do 1/9, 2/9, 3/9, 4/9. I didn't even need to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8/9 because I understood the pattern. Okay? So do your dividing and find your repeating decimal, put it in at the top, and you're done. That's it, that's all for today. Have a good day.